Welcome back, everyone. 14 after the hour. Time for us to go behind the headlines. And as we reported earlier, Nevada's Secretary of State has approved the petition to add marijuana legalization to the 2016 November ballot. That's the first state so far to be confirmed for 2016, although it is expected that California and possibly Maine will have something on the ballot come 2016, but we'll definitely be voting in Nevada in 2016. And of course, we'll bring you coverage of that on our Marijuana Election Night 2016. I guess we already have to start planning for that. Now, this legalization measure has a lot of details in it that I'd like to get to here. First of all, it would establish marijuana markets like we've got in the other 4 legalization states. So there will be cultivation businesses, infused product manufacturers, licensed testing facilities, and retail facilities. So those will all be subject to regulation, license fees, taxation, and so forth. And personal possession of up to an ounce of marijuana and an 1/8 ounce of concentrates. So pretty standard when we look at legalization throughout most of the states. The measure explicitly has language in it that says it does not alter or amend the medical marijuana law in any way. But from now on, I'm going to add the caveat that you can't legalize marijuana in a medical state without it affecting the medical marijuana law. I'm just going to say it from now on. You just can't do it. If the law says that it doesn't affect medical marijuana, what you end up with is 2 systems for the government to look at and compare and start to wonder why they have 2 separate systems. So understand that going for legalization does necessarily mean re-examining your state's medical marijuana law, even if the law doesn't say it's going to touch it. The law would allow home grows, 6 plants per person, 12 plants per household. So a couple roommates could each have their 6 plants, but 3 roommates couldn't each have 6 plants, right? 3 roommates would have to be 4 each, I suppose. And of course, the taxes and the regulations. Some of these include a buffer of the marijuana establishment. So a marijuana establishment can be anywhere within 1,000 feet of a school. And school is pretty liberally defined as any educational place, for kids and adolescents and so forth. And it adds a 300-foot buffer from community facilities. And community facilities are defined as daycares, parks, playgrounds, swimming pools, churches, synagogues, and any other primarily religious structure. And so a 300-foot buffer, not too much of a distance, but does increase the number of locations that won't be able to be licensed marijuana facilities. It also gives counties, cities, and towns the control over zoning land for marijuana establishments. It doesn't clearly say they can't ban them through zoning, so I would have to presume that means that they can until a court tells them otherwise. The measure explicitly allows employers to continue their so-called drug-free workplace policies. So even with legalization, they can still require piss tests to get a job. They can still fire you for testing positive for using something legal. Landlords will also explicitly be allowed to ban marijuana, quote, smoking, cultivation, processing, manufacture, sale, delivery, or transfer, end quote, on their properties. I guess you could still possess marijuana in your rental if it somehow magically appeared there out of thin air, since you can't have it delivered to you. You can't engage in delivery to the location. So if it magically appears out of thin air, I suppose you can possess in your rental. And then I guess you could only eat it raw because you can't process it, you can't smoke it, and I imagine vaporization would be considered some sort of process. Now, the licenses would be rationed by county population. It works out to a total of 130 statewide. If you go county by county, it's depending on population. So any county that's over 700,000 population, and there's only one, that's Clark County, Las Vegas, right? They would be allowed to have up to 80 pot shops in Clark County, in the Las Vegas area, up to 80. The next level is like 700,000 to 100,000, and that's like Washoe County, the Reno area, would be allowed to have 20. And then every other county in Nevada is below 55,000 in population. They would each get to have 2 pot shops per county. You know, Esmeralda County in Nevada only has like 600 people in it. I just learned that today doing the research for this. So it will be limited. There'll be a rationed number of these retail facilities. And understand that there's nothing stopping any of these counties from enacting bans, as far as I'm reading into this. As far as the licenses, it's a non-refundable $5,000 fee just to apply. And you can be rejected and you're out your $5,000. If you get accepted for one of these limited licenses, it's $10,000 if you want to be an infused product manufacturer, $15,000 if you want to be a testing facility or a marijuana distributor, $20,000 if you want to be a retail store, and $30,000 to set up your commercial marijuana grow. Marijuana is also going to be taxed at 15% excise tax at the cultivation stage, and the state sales tax of 6.85%, and any existing local taxes, which can be up to 1.25% in some places in Nevada. But of course, nothing's stopping these localities from instituting their own outlandish local taxes on marijuana, which I bet you're going to see them doing in 2015, just like the cities in Oregon rushed to pass their local taxes before the passage of Oregon's Measure 91 legalizing marijuana. So you can expect marijuana in Nevada is probably going to get taxed pretty high.